first commercial business incubator in the Caribbean. This is an initiative that doesn't belong to any of us. It is part of us. It will be powered by the Lockjack Graduate School of Business. We will be responsible for the orchestration of the resources and capabilities. And however, we all are, as partnering institutions, we're all accountable in this, what we call it, joint venture. At the end of the day, I think it's very important to talk about what's the end in mind. The end in mind is to ignite a new kind of growth in the Caribbean.
Good morning to all of you. It's really a very special day for the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business, the University of the West Indies, and may I say, a very special day for our country, Trinidad and Tobago, and in fact the region, as we launch this commercial business incubator project. It is therefore with great pleasure I welcome all of you to our School of Business, the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business, for this launch. The opportunity which this initiative brings to our businesses, young entrepreneurs across Trinidad and Tobago, is indeed significant as our nation and region continues to position itself to navigate in a very competitive global economy.
Basically an incubator that is concerned less about startups, but much more about ramping up businesses. What we have here in front of us is an incubator that will actually support companies from startup, but as well, and even with more emphasis, in the ramp-up. We have been in the School of Business visiting all the Caribbean. There's about 17 different business incubators in the region, and all of them share a critical issue. Once the startup gets going and once the entrepreneur gets a specific degree of financial independence, there is some sort of a isolation. But the most important aspect of starting up a company is not the start. Anybody could start a company, not anybody could make it grow. Growing represents the most critical challenge of the entrepreneur. It's scary, because once you decide to grow significantly, you can lose everything. But that's where we come into place. That's where we come whenever we try to reduce as much as possible, mitigate the risk of growth by basically supporting an entrepreneur to make accurate decisions.
And there's a lot of Trinity businesses that actually need to understand that. I'm not sure how you rate service in Trinidad and Tobago, but my experience has been variable. And we also need to reinvigorate the private sector. The private sector has had a lot of battles, a lot of challenges. Oil and gas has actually been their biggest curse, because oil and gas has lifted the cost structure in their country and made it a lot harder to run a business. But what we do have, we actually have a lot of assets. We have some big businesses, we have some SMEs that are already here, that we can accelerate, that we can grow already, because they already have people behind them who've made a commitment. And that's a low-hanging fruit. That's something that we can get runs on the board real quick.
I'd like to expand briefly on why InvestTT, or Invest Trinidad and Tobago, found it fit to partner with the Arthur Lockjack GSB and other key partners today. For ETEC and its subsidiary company InvestTT, the development of an incubator needed partners who had similar interests. When Mr. Ivy, who you saw moving around animatedly here a few minutes ago, met with us a few months ago to discuss the concept, we found the conceptual objectives and mode of operation of this incubator being launched as consistent with our thinking. To reiterate, our mission is to grow TNT's non-oil and gas sectors significantly and sustainably. For us, growth will be measured in terms of contribution to GDP, foreign exchange, and jobs. We have set a target of adding an additional 30 billion TT dollars to GDP in 2027 from projects that we will lead. I saw Ian doubling the amount. And while we are confident in our ability to deliver on our annual targets, on the road to this target, we also believe that partnering is vital in building out the necessary economic infrastructure and tools. To deliver on this mission and achieve our target, two key strategies are being employed: sourcing and facilitating local and foreign direct investments in key sectors on one hand, and stimulating business and sector growth through ecosystem improvements. In this latter strategy, cluster development, sector research, business intelligence, policy advocacy for trade improvements and fiscal incentives, and business incubation are some of the strategic initiatives we will pursue over the next 15 years. At InvestTT, therefore, we see our involvement in the commercial business incubator as a critical component of our strategy to achieve our mandate of diversification and growth.
We are convinced at Microsoft that technology is for everyone and no one should be left out. And we work to help the social and economic development of every country where we operate. Building on these years of working side by side with the government, with educators, NGOs, and the next generation of innovators, Microsoft is committed to working as a strategic partner with the Arthur Lockjack School of Business to help organizations and individuals create their own real impact for a better tomorrow. And let's make it our own real impact for our own tomorrow.
In conjunction with the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business, the ministry's shared goal is to contribute to the development of the human and institutional capacity required to transform the current business landscape and create a more sustainable way of life for our country. Through the school's emphasis on practical, comprehensive, and integrated business programs, it will provide the framework for developing new pathways for achieving sustainable growth and competitiveness.